Hello, this is Matt Cat, the angry egalitarian that discusses this and that. Today, we're going to be looking at what I consider to be a good feminist and talk about some of her viewpoints. And remember that in Pandora's box, with all the evilness and ugliness that was represented in the box, there was always the whisper of hope. All right, so we're going to be talking about Amanda Nicole today. Now, I've met her on Twitter. She was actually mentioned on my video where I went through all of the tweets for Proto Feminist. And while she was part of the conversation, I didn't have any of her tweets for that. I ended up adding her during that whole ordeal. And then I found her page here where she talks about feminism and princess culture as it pertains to Gamergate. Now, the thing is that I hate feminism. Just flat out, I hate it. I hate the modern movement. I hate the bullshit that they do, the double standards they have, and the things that they try to get away with. Now, I kind of come into question about feminism as a whole and how useful it has been for society. And that in many ways, the things that they've been fighting for have been just basically perverted truths of the time. However, there is a lot of suggestion that of all the three movements of feminism, the second seemed to be a little bit more about equality than the first or the third. And while, yes, I understand that the first wave was about for women's right to vote and all of that, there was a lot more going on there than just the right to vote. I tend to support the second wave more than any of the others, although I'm still leery about a few facts here and there. There does seem to be almost what I would call a fourth wave of feminism that is trying to take back what feminism means and trying to put it back at what many within the movement wanted it to be in the first place, for equality of men and women. Now, my opinion of it is that if you truly want equality between men and women, you're an egalitarian, and that you should support that title versus MRA or feminism. But if you feel that you can do better work if you're fighting for women's rights or men's rights, that's all well and fine. However, you have to remember that just because you're a feminist doesn't mean that the men's issue doesn't exist, or that somehow females' issues are more important. And the same goes with the MRA. So we come to Amanda Nicole. Now you can see right here, right away. Huge fan of TACS and O and J. Not entirely sure what that means. Excuse me. I stand with Gamergate and I'm not your shield. I'm a feminist that doesn't probably subscribe. Although being submissive would probably also apply. To third wave, Anita and co, feminism must be reformed. And that's what sold me on Amanda Nicole. Now, she also goes by ItsStarmanda or ST or Starmanda. I don't know how to say your name properly. It looks like Armada on one hand, although I know it's not. And then I see star and then R and I suck at reading. I know it. And I want to be a writer. Go figure. So she really sold me on this idea that feminism must be reformed. And I agree with her. If we're going to continue having feminism within our culture, then it needs to be reformed. Well, I would almost say that it needs to be reinvented into what it needs to be. A movement that is not anti-men and anti-women. A movement that is pro-men and pro-women. But let Amanda, sorry for that. Let's let Amanda go ahead and tell us what is going on today. I'm not going to use any special voice because she's going to be the only voice. All right, so starting off with the feminism and princess culture, and there's a lot of good information here, but let me go ahead and start reading. Over the past 2 months, I've been an observer of, and more recently a participant in Gamergate. By following the hashtag, along with the more prominent folk using it, I have learned a great deal about feminism, gamers, and society at large. My thoughts on the matter are my own, first, I'll explain how I came to be a Gamergate supporter. Further, hold on just a sec, not important to me. Further, along in this essay, I'll explain my ideal feminism, princess culture among women in this country or in the Western world at large, and of course, why all of this is relevant to Gamergate. Some background info into my life and moral code will probably be helpful to understand where I'm coming from with all of this, so I'll try to keep it brief to avoid putting whoever bothers to read this to sleep. Yeah, I'd hate to go to sleep on this. Don't worry, you won't go to sleep. It's a very fascinating read. First, you should know that I'm a gasp feminist. I use that word in the same fashion a gay gentleman might use the word faggot, or how I myself will use the word cunt. In other words, I'm reclaiming it for those who have poisoned it. I'm currently a woman and a gender studies major, and I'm taking the LSAT in June. See, it's so good that you said right away that you want to reform, because if I didn't see that and saw that you were in gender studies, I'd be a little skeptical. Because gender studies really seems to have this idea that women amazing, men horrible, horrible beings. So, I mean, let's continue reading. Having intimate knowledge of your country's legal system enables you to make impacts you simply couldn't from the outside. My goal as a feminist are simple. I want to throw out every last third wave, sex shame, man-hating person involved in the movement. Feminism by definition lends itself to misandry, but it needn't be this way. Many women before me actively tried to eradicate the idea that the career woman movement in the 1980s, the idea that men also suffer from societal pressure just like women. She makes reference to Susan Bordeaux's study entitled Reading the Male Body, and many early adapters that wanted to push the idea of suffrage without dumping all of their male counterparts. They wanted actual equality through laws and society. Please refer to C.H. Summers or Christina Hoff Summers or Kathy Young for an idea. In the opposite direction, the third wave feminism, as exemplified damsels in distress like Anita Sarkeesian, are in the business of ensuring that not only do women get their comeuppance, but they take down men in the process. They have their vintage counterparts in the second wave, where the patriarchy oppression idea was born. This wave of feminism also gave us gems like penetrative sex is rape. This is not the club I signed up for. So how do I define feminism? Simply put, it's empowerment through choice. The choice made available to someone are as important as the decisions they make. Well, I agree with that. What good is freedom if you only have one choice in an election? See North Korea. So for me, feminism equals choice. If you choose to be a porn actress, great. Would you prefer perhaps to be a housewife? Great. A career woman with no kids? Great. All of these are valid and important choices. That's what has me most upset with the third wave and their ilk. Frankly, they're mainly white, mainly men, and mainly prude as all get out. Which again is fine if you make your choice and leave others to it. I don't know if I agree that they're mainly third wave feminism is mainly men, because there are quite a lot of women out there. But I do see where she's coming from. Let's continue. Of course, this isn't what happens. They attempt to make your choices for you or eliminate what choices you can make. Are you a woman that believes that Grand Theft Auto 5 isn't the hate-filled piece of misogyny certain journalists tell you it is? Too bad. We've got to get it pulled. We know better than you do that it's poison for your mind, little pretty. Your internalized misogyny is killing you, and Dr. McIntosh has the fix. Just ban it, or guilt-shame developers into never making games like it, or call women, people of color that voice their opinions through channels like Not Your Shield hashtag sock puppets. Seems super inclusive and positive, right? Why in the world would modern women care to call themselves feminists when all you offer is sex shaming, kink shaming, and man hating? The fact is, women in the Western world would have it better than ever before. In many regards, women have the advantage. All right, so let me take a moment to stop here. That last line really impressed me because feminism, the third wave feminists would strongly suggest that women don't have the advantage, that they're the most oppressed and they have no power whatsoever. And here we have a feminist who's practically saying that women do have the advantage. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some key issues that I disagree with her on, and that's fine. That is perfectly fine. I'm thankful for that. You know, it's the saying that I always go by. If you're dumb, surround yourself by smart people. And if you're already smart, surround yourself with smart people who disagree with you. You know, and there's going to be many people in my life that I consider to be a friend or a lover or an ally who disagrees with me on key issues. That's the way I'd want it. I don't want a bunch of yes men. I mean, yeah, there's always going to be feminists out there who want to have the threat narrative and the victim narrative that they're somehow being oppressed in this society. But then there's going to be women like, you know, Amanda here, who is saying that, you know what, third wave feminism is batshit crazy. And yeah, we might disagree with each other. Great. Let's disagree with each other. Let's have a conversation about it. You know, because even within the men's rights movement, I'm going to find people that I disagree with on key issues. Hell, even within the Bunny Badgers, there are individuals there that I consider to be a great ally that I disagree with them on key issues. But the fact that she said that in many regards, women have the advantage, that tells me that she actually sees the world for what it is and not what she wants it to be. So let's go ahead and continue. Take a look at the insanity of rape shield laws in this country. I recommend Kathy Young's piece on rape shield laws located here. If you go to the website that you see on the top here, you can see her article. Or custody and the divorce law. The pendulum has swung too far in the other direction in some areas. The fact is, misogyny is defined by rad femme culture on Tumblr has turned all men into scared, hand-wringing white knights. In my humble opinion, paternalism is far more offensive than strippers being killed in a video game. Period. Treating women and minorities like children isn't helping. Why do women allow such nonsense anyway? My answer is simply for this essay. I believe that the true issue with women in today's society is princess culture. Now, I definitely agree with what she's saying here, that the laws, the rape shield laws, custody and divorce, they are strongly in women's favor. And the suggestion that a man can be a victim of custody law is ridiculous, even though we know it happens. The idea that, if a man is accused of rape, he can have his name broadcasted everywhere in the world. But if a woman's accused of rape, well, we're going to protect her because she might be innocent. But it doesn't matter if a guy is innocent of a rape charge. The moment he is charged with it, he is going to be deemed guilty by everyone. And that is the culture we live in. Not just the law itself, but the culture that we live in. And again, I'm thankful that there is a feminist mind out there. I mean, yeah, I'm a big fan of Christina Hoff Sommers, but I'm glad that there are other feminists like her in this world that see these things for what they are and is willing to shatter the myth of feminism. All right, so what is princess culture? It is the pervasive notion that women are all special, beautiful creatures. We are really, really not. Some of us are loathsome. Some of us are indeed awesome. The idea that we all deserve fairy tales, should be treated like kid gloves, and can't be wrong is just so damaging to women as a whole than anything men are doing. Evidence of this issue can be seen on Tumblr in spaces with the creation of the terms headmates, privilege, and so much more. It's scary to think that you're just a person, just a woman, just a speck on a planet. In order to combat those feelings, they create things to become indignant about. My pronouns are Zer. My headmate is a wolf. I deserve a big shiny wedding ring because I'm special and you're lucky to have gotten me. Dealing with people that behave as if they're special in some way isn't awful enough when they're 15. Speaking to radical feminists set on Twitter that have become enraged at Chan-style humor when they're 30 is depressing. Being offended is something princesses get to shout off with their heads about. They shout off with their heads. Someone needs to pay for my feelings being hurt. Whether I get you fired, destroy your marriage with false sexual harassment claims, or run you from your home. See the communism kills scandal on Tumblr. You deserve it because you dare to cross your majesty. You better learn to curtsy. They're all representative of personal dictatorships, killing and silencing those who disagree or call the queen out. Unfortunately, they tried to do this with their context of gaming. All of a sudden, the princesses of Tumblr were encouraging guys saying tits or get the fuck out, or men that were anon and therefore not guaranteed to be men. I'm not sure what you're saying there. Oh, we're encountering guys. Okay. Encouraging. That's funny. It's having a tough day today, so I might mess up here and there. So they're encountering guys that say tits or get the fuck out, or we're using anon and therefore not guaranteed to be men. It's hard to disagree someone's opinion based on gender or being cis when you don't know what the fuck they are. Princesses don't like being told no. Princesses don't like being called out for being genuinely shitty to people. Not women, people. Princesses also can't comprehend that gamers don't give a damn about their royalty in their own heads. Gamers have been dealing with women thinking they're special since time immemorial. How many gamer girls, and girls spelled with GRRLS, I don't know if that's a typo or not, started popping up once geek culture became cool? Oh, how many gamer girls started popping up once geek culture became cool? A lot. Yeah, I do remember what geek culture was like before it was cool. And believe you me, there really wasn't that many females around. Yeah, there were females that like to play video games, but they really seem to try to distance themselves from the geek tag. And when I was in high school, I started to see that jocks were starting to embrace geek culture. But it was still some time before I ever really saw a woman do it. And I would have, we didn't really care if a woman did it or not. It's just we didn't see it happening. And I was I took every single computer course I could. And yeah, some of the general ones had a lot of females in them, but things like programming, things like computer repair, things like that, we had next to no females in them. In fact, my school was part of a program within the school district, because it's a pretty big school district, to take old computers, refurbish them, and then send them out to schools that needed them. And it was a volunteer thing to do. And surprise, surprise, no females in them. Females could have signed up if they wanted to. In fact, there were really no requirements on the class. And it was expected that you knew a thing or two about computer repair, but, there were no females there. Now, you could say, oh, well, it was just because there were so many guys there. No, I don't buy it. I think it's because girls weren't interested in doing it. They were interested in doing other things. And then when it started to become cool, then girls were really trying to get in and become part of the geek culture. Now, yes, there were geek girls out there before. There were girl gamers out there before, or rather gamers that were girls, before it became cool to be a geek in this culture, but not at an alarming rate that it is now. And that's why we're now seeing this whole Gamergate issue exploding as it is. Some of them are, so going back to what she's saying, some of them are certainly genuine and just want to play. But some of them are the same girls that take up watching football because their boyfriends like it. They're one of the guys. In reality, they're anything but. Football is an apt comparison here. Look at the NFL, the supposed manliest institution of sports in America, covered in pink, being led around like a puppy on a leash by special interest groups. What the extremists on the left didn't expect was the resounding fuck no heard from across the internet when Gamergate started. Just look at the representation Gamergate had when compared to the third waivers. Gamergate has all races, all creeds, atheists, religious people, straight, gay, etc. What do they have? What do they have? Mostly white dudes. I guess she's talking about the anti-Gamersgate. White dudes are great, by the way. White dudes telling women and minorities that they're failing at being women and minorities are just racist, actual misogynists. Funny how that works. Still not agreeing that they're mostly white dudes. I know that they're out there, John McIntosh being one of them, but I am seeing a lot of women out there. I mean, hell, proto-feminist was a feminist who was against Gamergate. Now, there's no proof that she's actually a woman, but I really don't care. But to generalize that all the anti-Gamergate side is just white men, I have a little bit of problem with that. But, you know, I understand where Amanda here is coming from. So we're almost done here. Gamergate is the single group of people who's been unwilling to get on its knees to avoid the beheading. Gamergate is everything princesses fear, the dark fog creeping in to bring a change in regime. The radicals have had long enough with the megaphone, the platforms, the righteousness on behalf of their subjects. Clearly, people have had enough of the outrage army fighting on the princess's behalf. In my anecdotal experience, Gamergaters are some of the few people left in society willing to laugh at themselves. Excuse me. They're the most inclusive and intelligent people I've met en masse and on my lifetime. Here's to hoping Gamergate succeeds in creating new media, new ideals, and knocking the princesses down from the pedestal on which society has placed them. So, Amanda, beautiful, beautiful Amanda, I agree with most of what you say. Now, there are probably, like I said, there's probably going to be some things that we disagree with each other on, and that's all well and fine. Hold on, I'm making sure that no one is checking what. I always do leave the Q&A open, not that everyone ever uses it, although now it's not working for me. All right, so let's go back to Nicole here. Amanda Nicole. So, but I think the overall message that she is discussing here is that we've got a lot of women in this world about treating themselves as being more special than others. They don't like the idea of being ordinary. They don't like the idea that they might just be like everyone else. So they have to find a way to make them more special. And I have seen this a lot within women. Men do it too, don't get me wrong, but women are notorious for it. And yeah, when they're 15 years old, okay, that's understandable. When they're 30 years old, that's just sad. I mean, I've often see women like, oh yeah, I could beat up that guy. I could beat up that guy. I'm the toughest cunt there is. And I'm like, yeah, you know why? Because they're not dumb enough to fight you back. Because they know if they land one hit on you, the first thing you'll do is call the cops and say, that man just hit me. And he can give the excuse, she hit me first, it doesn't matter. And that's how you're so much tougher than all of these men, because you know that you can cry to mommy when things don't go your way. You know, I love the feminists that will try to give their argument, their point. And then when someone comes back and it's like, well, wait a minute, here's this problem over here. How do you respond to this? Their first reaction is, go fuck yourself. You should go kill yourself. You should be raped. They can't listen to logic and reason. The only logic and reason that exists is the one they tell you. And if you don't accept that there's something wrong with you, not them. Yeah, I often talk about it as being self-serving bias, that they can do no wrong and that everyone else is responsible for what's around them. So yeah, I agree with this whole princess culture thing that you're describing. And I do think that you're right that what makes Gamergate so important is it's really the last thing within culture that the third wave feminism hasn't taken over. Yeah, NFL supposedly be this manly thing is now catering to women more than it's catering to men. I mean, I saw the nomore.org and I did a video on it. about saying that no more to like rape and sexual harassment. Yeah, for women. But what men receive, oh no, that doesn't exist. That's not true. You know, no man is ever been raped. No man has ever been sexually harassed. It's men who are doing it, and the NFL players agree. Somehow Michael Jordan was in that NFL commercial, but you know, maybe he played football. Who knows? So this is a feminist I support. And if we're going to have feminism continue, I want it to be a person like this. We don't need to agree on every single issue. Hell, if we did, I probably would be a feminist myself if we somehow agreed on every single issue. But the fact that she understands what the world actually is tells me that she takes her responsibility as a member of the human species very seriously, unlike third wave feminists or modern feminists. I do hope that there's a fourth wave feminism. I do hope that it's people like Amanda Nicole. She mentioned Cindy Young. I'm not too familiar with her. I'll have to do some more research on her. But Christina Hoff Sommers. I don't think I'll ever call myself a feminist, but then I don't call myself an MRA. I don't call myself a men's right movement. I call myself an egalitarian. I'm in the middle, and I see everything. So if you get a chance, go ahead and follow ItsStarmanda, ItsStarmanda. And go ahead and follow her on Twitter. Let her know I said hello. And I'm going to go ahead and sign off.